11 things that shocked me about schools in Australia versus America. I walked into an Australian classroom and couldn't find a teacher for 30 seconds because she was sitting on the floor with the kids. That's when I realized everything I knew about school was about to be shattered. I'm an American teacher. I spent 7 years in California public schools before moving to Sydney. And what I've seen here, it's made me question if we've been doing education wrong this whole time. Today, I'm breaking down 11 things that shocked me about schools in Australia versus America. From the ones that seem small to the ones that are literally illegal in most U.S. states. But here's the thing, number 7, it's the one Americans argue about most. And number 1, it made me cry in a staff meeting. But wait, before we begin, please subscribe to ensure that you never miss out on any of my essential stuff. Comment, I subscribe below, and I will personally welcome you to our community. With that said, let's get started. Let's go. Number 11, 98% of Australian schools require uniforms. In America, only 20%. Meet Jenna, American mom, moved to Melbourne for her husband's job. When she found out her 8-year-old daughter wore the same polo and skirt every day, she panicked. I thought it would kill her creativity. I thought she'd rebel. 2 weeks in, her daughter stopped crying every morning about not having the right clothes. No more begging for Lululemon leggings. No more comparing herself to classmates. And here's the data. A 2019 University of Nevada study found that uniforms reduce bullying incidents by 18% and improve focus scores by 12%. Less visual comparison. Less distraction. But here's the twist. Australian kids still express wild individuality. Crazy socks. Colorful hair ties. Pins on their backpacks. One girl in my class had a different scrunchie for every day of the month. Uniforms didn't erase personality. They just leveled the economic playing field. But wait until you see what Australian schools do at 10 a.m. every single day. Number 10, no pledge of allegiance. No hand on heart. No flag in most classrooms. I'm not going to lie. My first week teaching in Sydney, I kept waiting for morning announcements. Kept waiting for that scratchy intercom voice to say, "Please rise for the pledge." It never came. Australian patriotism looks different. Less ritual, more BBQs and beach culture. They love their country, but they don't perform it every morning. Tyler, an American exchange student I taught, told me it felt weird at first, then kind of liberating. He said, I never realized how much I associated school with nationalism until it was gone. Here's a stat that'll blow your mind. U.S. students say the pledge approximately 2,340 times by graduation. Australian kids? 0. I'm not saying one way is right or wrong, but it made me wonder, what if mornings were just quieter? And speaking of mornings, number 9 will make American parents jealous. Number 9, Australian high schools start at 8:50 or 9 a.m. American schools? Many start at 7:15. Marcus is 16. Moved from Texas to Brisbane last year. In Texas, he woke up at 5:45 a.m. to catch the bus. Dark outside. Exhausted. Grades? Solid BS, but he was always tired. In Brisbane, he wakes up at 7:30. Gets actual sleep. His grades jump to as within one semester. And this isn't just anecdotal. A 2022 Journal of Adolescent Health study found that later start times improved teen mental health scores by 23% and academic performance by 9%. The science is clear. Teenagers' brains aren't wired for 7 a.m. algebra. The CDC recommends 8:30 a.m. starts, but only 18% of U.S. high schools comply. Australian teens get 47 more minutes of sleep on average. That's 240 extra hours per year. 40 extra nights of sleep. So why doesn't America do this? Buses, sports schedules, parent work hours. I get it, but kids are suffering. But here's where it gets controversial. Number 8. Most Australian schools don't have cafeterias. Kids bring lunch from home or buy from a canteen, which is basically a snack shop. When I first heard this, I panicked. No hot lunch program? No free and reduced meals? What about food insecurity? Here's the reality. Australia has a stronger social safety net outside of school. Family tax benefits, universal health care. The government supports families directly, so schools don't have to be food providers. Emma's a single mom in Sydney. She uses a family tax benefit, about $200 per child every 2 weeks, to afford lunch supplies. Is it perfect? No, but it's a different system. Here's the controversy. Some Australian school canteens sell chips and cookies with zero federal nutrition standards. A 2021 Australian Institute of Health study found that 30% of canteen items exceed recommended sugar levels. Meanwhile, American school lunches have strict USDA guidelines, whole grains, fruits, veggies, but many kids won't eat them. If you're American watching this, you're probably thinking about that kid who relied on school breakfast. That kid who ate more at school than at home. I taught that kid. I was that kid. Australia's system works because their safety net is elsewhere. But it makes me wonder, what if America invested in families instead of just schools? But number 7 is where things get legally shocking. Number 7. In Australia, a teacher carrying a gun to school would be arrested immediately. In America, 30 states allow armed teachers. After the Port Arthur massacre in 1996, Australia banned semi-automatic weapons. School shootings since then? 0. America? The Center for Homeland Defense and Security has documented over 400 school shooting incidents since 1999. Rebecca's an Australian teacher I work with. She told me, I never even considered the possibility of a school shooter until I read American news. The idea of carrying a gun to protect my students is dystopian. And here's what broke me. In America, we do active shooter drills. Kids hide in closets. Teachers barricade doors with desks. 7-year-olds learn to be silent so they don't get killed. If you're a U.S. teacher watching this, I see you. This shouldn't be your reality. This shouldn't be anyone's reality. I'm not here to debate gun rights. I'm just telling you, there's a country where teachers don't think about this. Ever. Now, let's talk about something that sounds small, but changes everything. Number 6. Australian teachers get a sacred tea break. 15 minutes mid-morning where staff actually socializes. In America, I ate lunch in 20 minutes while monitoring the cafeteria or grading papers. I saw my coworkers in passing. We were islands. Linda taught in L.A. for 12 years. Burned out. Moved to Perth. She told me, I forgot what it felt like to laugh with coworkers daily. At first, I felt guilty taking tea break, like I should be working. But then I realized this is a job. Community is part of it. A 2020 Stanford study found that workplace social connection reduced teacher burnout by 31%. Turns out humans need humans. Australian tea and biscuits isn't really about the drink. It's about checking in, sharing a funny student moment, venting about a difficult parent. It's connection. And here's the thing, it makes us better teachers. When I'm not drowning in isolation, I have more patience, more creativity, more joy. But here's the thing most people don't realize about Australian education. Number 5, Australia doesn't segregate gifted kids the way America does. Everyone's in the same classroom. The U.S. has over 3 million students in gifted and talented programs. Separate classes, different curriculum, labeled from age 7. Australia, they differentiate within mixed classrooms. Same room, different tasks. Kevin got the gifted label in Boston at age 8, moved to Sydney at 13. He told me, at first I hated it. I wasn't special anymore. But then I realized I'd never actually worked with kids who weren't like me. I didn't know how to collaborate. I didn't know how to explain my thinking. A 2018 OECD study found that countries with less academic tracking, like Australia, showed smaller achievement gaps between rich and poor students, while still producing similar rates of top performers. Now, some argue this holds back high achievers, and maybe sometimes it does, but it also reduces elitism, reduces the idea that some kids are better than others. What if we've been measuring gifted wrong this whole time? What if intelligence is more than test scores? Speaking of measurements, number 4 will blow your mind. Number 4, Australian kids don't take the SAT. They don't take the ACT. They take one test at the end of year 12, and it's different in every state. New South Wales has the HSC. Victoria has a VC. Queensland uses the ATR system. It's all internal, based on coursework and final exams. In America, students take the SAT or ACT multiple times, spend thousands on prep courses, stress for years. And a 2023 Harvard study found that standardized test scores correlate more with family income, correlation of 0.42, than with actual academic potential. Sophia is a dual citizen, took both systems. She said, the Australian way felt like measuring what I learned, not how well I test. The SAT felt like a game I had to pay to win. And Australian university acceptance rates? Around 70%, compared to America's 50%. Less testing, more learning, more access. But the top three? These change lives. Number 3. In Australia, taking a year off after high school isn't seen as lazy. It's encouraged. In America, you're falling behind. 60% of Australian students defer university for at least one semester. In the U.S., under 10%. Daniel's American, got pressured into college at 18. Didn't know what he wanted. Dropped out after a year. $40,000 in debt. His Australian cousin traveled Southeast Asia. Worked at a surf shop. Started uni at 20 with purpose. Graduated. Got a job he loves. A 2021 Gap Year Association study found that students who took gap years had 23% higher GPAs and 33% better career clarity. But American culture fears losing momentum. Taking time is seen as failure. Australian universities hold your spot. The system supports exploration. If you're 17 watching this, you have permission to breathe. You don't have to have it all figured out right now. Now here's something that sounds crazy, but saves lives. Number 2, every Australian kid learns to swim in school. It's not a sport, it's survival. Australia is an island nation. Beaches everywhere. And drowning used to be the leading cause of child death. Since mandatory swim education started in the 1980s, child drowning deaths have dropped 78%. Liam is 8, nearly drowned at a pool party in the U.S. His Michigan school didn't offer swim lessons, no funding. Moved to Australia. Learned to swim in year 2. Now he's confident in the water. In America, drowning is the number 1 cause of death for kids age 1 to 4. The U.S. has no federal swim requirement. Royal Life Saving Australia data shows swim-educated kids are 88% less likely to drown. Aussies don't see this as special. It's just obvious. Why doesn't everyone do this? But number 1, this is the thing that made me cry in a staff meeting. Number 1, in Australia, teachers are paid well, trusted, and seen as professionals. In America, we're treated like babysitters. The average Australian teacher salary is $70,000 USD adjusted. U.S. average? $62,000. But it's not just money. It's culture. Maria's a 15-year veteran from Chicago. Moved to Melbourne 2 years ago. She told me. The first time an Australian parent said, "You're the expert. What do you recommend?" I almost cried. In Chicago, parents questioned everything. Blamed me for their kids' grades. Sent late-night emails demanding explanations. The 2022 Varkey Foundation Global Teacher Status Index ranks Australia 11th for teacher respect. The U.S. 16th. Less standardized testing means less teacher blame. Stronger unions mean better conditions. I became a teacher to change lives. In America, I was drowning. 40-hour weeks turned into 60. Parents yelled at me. Admin didn't back me up. I cried in my car. In Australia, I'm thriving. I have time to plan creative lessons. Colleagues who support me. Parents who trust me. And here's what hurts. American teachers deserve this too. They work just as hard, care just as much, but the system is broken. So what does all this mean? Here's what I learned. It's not that Australia has it all figured out. They don't, but they've made different choices. Safety over freedom. Community over individualism. Well-being over productivity. Respect over accountability theater. I don't think one system is perfect. Australia has its problems. Funding gaps, rural access, indigenous education disparities. But seeing another way, it broke open what I thought was possible. If you're a teacher watching this, know that you deserve better. You deserve tea breaks and respect and sleep. If you're a parent, know that different systems exist, that the way we do school isn't the only way. If you're a student, your experience isn't universal. And that's okay. So here's my question for you. If you could take one thing from Australian schools and bring it to America or vice versa, what would it be? Not what sounds good, but what would actually change a kid's life? Comment below. Let's see if we can agree on anything. And if you're still here, thank you. That means you actually care about this. Hit subscribe. We're doing UK versus US schools next, and you won't believe number 3. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.